All right. Hey, everybody. This is Eric, or Mr. Griffin, or whatever you guys want to call me, honestly. Um, so, as some of you guys might be, you might be teachers, and if your job is a teacher, then you are used to teaching things. Well, I am an art teacher, so I'm used to actually teaching things. And now, during this time of uncertainty, and we're all in quarantine, I don't get to do my job. But I wanted to try something different, so I'm going to go ahead and do a little video. This is not a live video, so you'll be able to pause it and move along with it or save it for later. Um, but I've seen some really fun things going around the nation. I know we are all trying to band together and help support each other since we're all kind of like in lockdown. I've seen some things that if you're going on a bear hunt, put a little teddy bear in your window. I've got three bears in my windows, and no, they're not real bears. They are teddy bears. But I got three bears stationed up in my window. And then I saw something go viral where people were also putting hearts in their windows and on doors. And so if you go outside and you're exercising and you can spot some hearts, it's a really fun thing. Well, I wanted to go ahead and do my own little version of a heart. And I've got some origami hearts I'm going to go ahead and show you. Now, this is just a normal heart. You can probably find out how to do this online, or you can stay tuned with Mr. Griffin or Mr. Eric or just me and see what's going on. Now, I wish I could show you my face. I can't seem to figure out how to switch cameras, but I've got my tie-dye heart shirt on. And so we're going to go ahead and do this. Now, before I get started, I want to read something to you guys. I read this to all of my students when we do origami. It kind of gives me a peace of mind. It gives me a relaxation. And it's something I read. And I think I read this already earlier today. And I think this is perfect for all of our situations. It says, there's more to origami than just folding paper. There is magic in transforming a flat, square piece of paper into a three-dimensional work of art, breathing life into an otherwise static object. The very act of folding stimulates and enriches the imagination, creating ideas and improving hand and eye coordination. Such focus calls for a Zen-like form of concentration. It's a type of meditation that can also create an enormous sense of calm and relaxation. For when our attention is fully engaged, the mind becomes silent. When we succeed in restricting our thoughts to one subject, the incessant internal chattering stops. Indeed, the contentment that we feel when our minds are absorbed often comes less from the activity itself than from the fact that in concentrating, our worries or our problems are forgotten. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I think we all have a lot of worries. I think we all have a lot of problems going on right now. And I think our world needs a little bit more origami. And with this one, I think it needs a little bit more love. So I'm going to go ahead and start by showing you guys how to do your own little origami heart. Now, just to let you know, you do not have to have origami paper. You can find any kind of piece of paper as long as it's a square. Now, I think this square is about 6 inches by 6 inches. It might be 5 inches by 5 inches. I haven't checked for sure, but you can take any rectangular piece of paper and fold it down at a diagonal and cut off the extra, and you got yourself a little square. But here's a little square. It doesn't have to be colored on one side, but if you find yourself a square that is colored on one side, what I want you to do is go ahead and start with it white side up. So we're going to start with the blank side up, and our colored side is going to be down. Now what we're going to do is we're going to fold a vertical line and a horizontal line. So we're going to fold this in half, and we're going to unfold it. So these are going to be helper folds. So we're going to fold first the vertical line in half and then a horizontal. It really doesn't matter. It's a square. So symmetrical, you can kind of turn it. But I wanted to use some terminology. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and first make sure that every fold that you do needs to be as precise as possible. Each fold builds on itself. So I'm going to start off by matching those corners, and I'm going to fold it down the edge. Origami is really weird like that. If you are off a little bit on the first fold, you seem to be off further on the later fold. So try your best to do the very first fold as nice and neat as you can. So I'm going to crease it down. I'm going to unfold it, And now we're going to fold the other angle, other direction. Now I'm a slow origami artist because I think Mr. Griffin has big old fat fingers and he's sweaty and he just shakes a lot. He's got what some of you guys might say is ADD. And honestly, if you can get any child that is ADD into origami, it's an amazing thing because ADD is like a superpower. We actually can hyper focus on things that we're interested in. So now we got our piece of paper. It's got the folded. We're going to keep it white side up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these bottom two corners. I don't care if you do these two corners or these two corners or these two corners, but you're going to choose two of the bottom corners. They need to be on the same line, and you're going to fold those up to the center. Now, these are going to be the bottom of our heart. Now, we're going to use those creases, those folds to kind of match it up there. I'm going to try my best to be nice and neat as I can. My eyesight's not working with this light. If you're off a little bit, like I said, it's not going to be a big deal. If you can try your best to match those edges, it's going to be better. All right. Now that we got that, we're going to take this top edge. We're going to fold this top edge down to this middle line. Now, it might be easier for you to rotate it around. I'm going to rotate it around so I can go ahead and fold this top edge right down into that little plane right there. I'm going to crease it down. I like to either use the back of my nail or just my finger. If you get too sweaty like Mr. Griffin sometimes does, it kind of gets sticky, but that's okay. Now, from here, we're going to do a couple of helper folds. The helper folds are just basically folds that you fold and then unfold. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this vertical line and I'm going to fold it right into the center and then unfold it. So I'm going to do this to both sides, the right and the left. I'm going to fold this down in here. Right like that, matching it right to the middle. Don't cross that midline. That's your line of symmetry. You don't want to cross that, but you do want to crease it down nice and neat. So we got a nice little fold. And I'm going to unfold it. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and do the other side. Nice and neat. Fold that down. And now I've got my little helper folds. All right. Now, from this point, it's very important. At this point, what we need to do is we need to flip our piece of paper upside down. Now, we should have a blank side. We should have it all red. There shouldn't be any creases or anything. You should be able to see, and you have these creases. Now, what we're going to do is kind of tricky. I'm going to take this vertical line, and I'm going to pull it down here and make it turn horizontal. So I'm going to fold along a diagonal. There's no like perfect diagonal line that I can show you. So it's an imaginary diagonal right about here. So I'm going to fold this side down here. Watch how I do this. I'm going to take all my piece of paper, gently bring it down here. Sometimes your paper gets kind of like all bogged up. So be very careful. Try to get it so then perfectly gets a horizontal line right there. I like to make sure that my corners do not overlap that edge right there. I'm going to go ahead and crease it down. Now, that was the hardest one. I want you guys to go ahead and look at this again. Look at what I did. I went ahead and took the right side and I folded it straight down. So now it created a horizontal line. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now we're going to do the left side as well. The left side should be easier because you're going to once again line up this vertical line and it's going to match perfectly right on top of this. Hopefully, if we did everything right. Now, notice how I'm kind of creasing it down because I want to be careful when I do my diagonal. Sometimes all that extra paper gets all bogged up and it doesn't want to fold down nice and neat sometimes. So I'm going to have this. And look, magically, we've created a square. Now, the square is not the end result. We got to make this heart. Okay, now this is where it gets a little tricky as well. I'm going to do is I'm going to take this top corner, but I don't want to fold it down like this. I want to keep the flapper. So you see this little flap, the right side, and we also have a left side little flap right here. I want to keep those up. I'm going to take the triangle that's in the middle, and I'm going to fold it straight down. Now, I can fold this little flappers back down. And I should have something that looks kind of like this. I want you guys to watch what I did again. So instead of taking the whole thing and folding it down, I took just the center triangle and made sure that it came down on the inside of these little flaps. Now, if you noticed, Mr. Griffin got messed up again too. So I'm gonna go ahead and do it like that. Okay? Are you with me? If you're not, it's a video. You guys can go back and stop and rewatch. Okay, so I'll move it, my hands. It should look like this for right now. Now, here's where we're gonna have to zoom in. We're gonna have to pay close attention. Okay, this little white square, there's a little white square over here and a little white square over here. We're gonna fold it along a diagonal. Do you see where I'm pointing? This little diagonal. Okay, watch what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take this little white thing, I'm gonna fold it along a diagonal, just like that. Okay, now I've got a little point for the top of my heart. I'm gonna do the same thing over here on this side. Okay, now from here, I want to go ahead and take the top of this little triangle, top of this little point, and I'm going to bring it back just a little bit. You don't have to go all the way down, but I want to try to go straight down so it lines up with the seam. Okay, I just kind of folded it straight down a little bit. So I take the little top little corners, I'm going to fold it straight down. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing with these far corners, but we're also going to do an inside reverse fold. I know, that's really confusing language. Origami is weird, but watch what we're going to do. I'm going to first do the helper fold where I take the corner and I fold it over itself. I'm going to fold it over itself. And then here's the inside reverse fold. I'm going to use those creases and I'm going to push the triangle inside itself like so. Now, I don't know if you saw that. I'll do it again. So what I asked you guys to do is to fold this corner over itself, just like that. Okay? Now, when we got that, we're going to then open it up a little bit and push those folds, those helper folds, in on themselves. And that's actually called the inside reverse fold. So we're going to do it again on this side. So I'm going to take this, fold this in, fold that in, and then I'm going to open it up just a little bit, and I'm going to push that corner down inside of itself. And if you do a better job than Mr. Griffin, you're going to have a nice little heart. I still did messed up. Get in there. Okay. There we go. Now, doesn't this look like a pretty heart? Oh, I forgot. Flip it over, and you got yourself a little pretty heart. You guys can tape these all over your glass door. You guys can send them with little notes. Make sure you Lysol them before you give them to anybody. Maybe we should just hold on to them. See if you can make about 100 of these, and then we'll pass out hearts to everybody. Hey, I love you guys. Stay safe, wash your hands, and always look on the positive. See you guys again real soon.